What's up? Welcome back to Ringworm. It's cold as crap right now, but it's supposed to be a nice day. I don't even think there's gonna be any clouds today. It's gonna be like mid-20s, so today is my day to do my milling, to build the furniture in here, the bunk, the workbenches, shelves, table, or whatever. I think the weather's gonna dive again pretty quick. So I'm gonna mill up all the logs I have around here. I've got a few good ones over by the sawhorses. I saw a couple others. They might be junk, but down by the gazebo that I built last year. Unfortunately, I got this thing in my head the other day that this year I want to learn how to how to shoot from the hip, literally. So I accidentally just spent the last hour plinking away with my 22. I thought it was going to be like, just shoot 6 rounds real fast, see if I could even hit anything, and there goes an hour and 200 rounds of ammo. It's good. I haven't done any shooting this winter. Ever since the shooting range got wiped out by that windstorm, there's no place to shoot down there, and I haven't taken the time to put it back together. So I got the heater running in here and two my battery-powered fans going, trying to dry out some caulk. I caulked the floor in here because I could feel, like, put my hand on it, I could feel cold air coming up through there. Since this place isn't insulated, any of those cracks are kind of a big deal. They need to be all covered up. But now, because it's so cold, I caulked the floor like 5-6 days ago, and it hasn't been that cold, but I mean, duh, I should have known that it wasn't gonna harden. Although, I guess the reason I did it and thought it might harden is because the stuff on the outside did. Anyway, heater's going, see if we can get it dried out. Do my milling now, my building tomorrow. I'll show you in case you guys, I've been threatening to make this bunk for like 5 videos now, but in case you're just stepping in now, I'll show you what I'm going to build in there. Oh, it's actually warm. Amazing. I just put some weather stripping in here, some compressible stuff, and I got a little brush for the bottom of the door. Of course, can't put it in until this stuff dries out, because it'll just rake over that and make a mess. So I'm kind of starting to like it in here. It'll be even better when I get some of the tools out of here and actually make it usable. I'm gonna do my bunk here, just make out of 1-bys that I mill up out of whatever. I think I got some fir and maybe even some pine. And then here, I'm gonna do probably an L there, bunch of shelves up there whenever I have the lumber /time/ interest. And then I think I'll probably just do like another table here. I might make this an actual like really heavy workbench. And then in this corner, maybe make something a little bit lower so that I could put a chair at it. As you know, I live here year round. I've been here now 2 years in a tent just because I think it's fun. Although, of course, this is way northern Michigan, and the weather is not always beautiful here. I know what you're thinking. You're like, look at all that snow and cold. It looks like it's always gorgeous. It's not. So instead of like the last couple of years when the weather's bad, I have to go sit in a tent or something, sometimes for days. This will give me a place to hang out. So if I make a little table over here, I'd at least be able to put a chair of some sort in here. Once it's warm enough, I can start editing these videos back out here. So that'll be a really nice area to have. In case anybody's new to this, I'm not gonna live in this thing just because I don't want to. I'm only out here because I love being in a tent. I love camping and feeling like I'm on vacation all the time. But when the weather's horrible, I do want a place to hang out, a place to work. I want a place to put my tools that, you know, actually has a floor and keeps some of the humidity out. So let's get this put together, eh? I feel like it's about time. Yeah, it's time. I guess I thought these were bigger and that they'd be frozen to the ground and I'd have to take them one at a time with the log tongs, but they're not that big. I don't know if they're full of bugs or what, but we'll find out. Not that heavy, so they must be pretty dry. That's part of the reason I have to keep all these trails packed down all the time. Because if I let them go too long, I get too much snow on it, I can't get through. And if I can't get through, I can't do stuff like this. Can't get logs and get to the places I need to go. Oh yeah, he's got some bug holes, I know for sure. So I got four small, not great logs. I mill them all up at 1 inch. And then this guy I'll do at probably 1.5 or 2 to make that workbench, or a couple workbenches. I'm hoping after saving this for so long, this one log, that it doesn't end up being rotten inside or something, or be full of bugs. Probably only gonna get two or three boards out of this, but better than nothing. No sense throwing it away. Man, those are good and froze. Screws barely go in. I have to get some shorter ones. God, it's a pretty day. So quiet. It is so nice to live alone in the woods. Always. Even when it's cold or it's blowing or whatever. Just being out here and like waking up every day and I think I'll do this today. No, I think I'll do that today. What do you think? Oh, no one's there. Nobody says yes or no. They don't tell you what to do. You just do what you want to do. God, it's lovely. Wow, that looks pretty solid. That's good, that's what you call good bunk wood. That's a technical term, you wouldn't understand. Well, got a few good boards out of it anyway. Couple of wormholes, but nothing like, yeah, nothing to worry about. Those will be nice to make a bed. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the camera off. Again, it keeps dying because it's so cold. Ooh, tree's coming down or something. Oh, we're gonna get the wind now and I'm gonna get dumped on. I'll just mill these other three up and then I'll turn the camera back on and show you guys what that big log is like. Man, I hope it's great. What? I had to eat lunch. So much fun. That's a nice thing, number 463 about living alone in the woods, is you can just load up your revolver, you can leave it right there, and then anytime you come to get a snack or a drink, you can just rip off a few rounds and go right back to what you were doing. You should try it. Living in the woods alone is kind of the way to go. Quit your jobs. Quit them. All right, that's it. That's the 4. Made some pretty good lumber. Some nice long ones there. I think those are like 12 footers. It's about as long as I could mill. And then this 12 footer, unfortunately, has quite a few wormholes in it, and many of them were occupied still. I don't really know how that works with the grubs. I would have thought that they would have died after they froze, but I mean, they were still intact, not moving, but I assume they were all torpored out. So I might just save this one log, use it for stuff outside. I'm gonna build some shelves on the back of this once I move that roof over and hang it off the back. But I could use these worm-holed boards to do shelving and stuff out there, and I'll just spray them with I'll just spray them to kill all the bugs on it, then maybe I'll have to seal them. But that way, if they're out there and they get eaten up or these things come back to life, it won't be a catastrophe. So I'm glad I rustled this big guy up here, and it is perfect log. I can't remember this tree. I think this tree got knocked down somewhere. I think it came down in the wind. It's most of these trees out here I think about 90 to 100 years old. And I guesstimated on that one somewhere around 100. That is a beautiful log. I do, some point in the future, I don't know when or why or how, I'd like to thin some of these cedars out. They're so densely packed that the majority of them, even if they're 100 years old, look something like these. Like that's, what, maybe 10 inches at most. That's 7 or 8. And they can be really old, but they're packed so tightly together that they don't get any light. And then you notice the biggest ones out here, like this one, didn't have a whole lot of trees around it. Got a lot of sunlight, just like that big pine up there. Same age and easily twice as big around. So the few giant cedars that are out here are giant because they're not competing with the other trees. They're not all smushed together. So I think my understanding is if somebody came through and actually thinned this out, I don't know why they would do it, that they would take around 4 out of 5 trees down in order to let the rest grow to full size and be more healthy. I'm certainly not going to go cut 4 out of 5 trees on this property. I don't have any reason to do it or any way to do it, but you know, in the future, as I keep building stuff, if I need trees that aren't on the building site, like with the man cave, all the trees to build that were right in that area that had to come down just to make room for it. But if I wanted to build something that was in an area without milling trees, I think I'll just go through and, you know, selectively take one out here, one out there, and the rest of the trees will actually be healthier for it. All right, let's give this guy a go. I think we're going to get, hopefully get 4 slabs out of it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do 1.5 inches or 2 inches. Actually, let's go look at the picnic table. I want to do it like that. This is made out of one tree. It's 5 slabs out of one tree. You can see they're, I don't know if you can tell, but they're not, you know, it's not like a 12-inch board. It's 14 down to 10 or something like that. The 3 slabs from the middle, it was 5 slabs total of the tree. The 3 in the middle are right there, just opened up. And then the one on the outside, and then the one on the other outside is the other bench. It looks like 2 inches. Oh man, I kind of like to do 1.5 inches, then I could get enough out of this to do all the workbenches. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make them full 2 inches. It's worth it. I don't know if you can see the marks on here, but if I do them 1.5 inches, then you got one here, 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 here. And then here's the bottom. This log gets a lot fatter on that end, so I wouldn't get a full board here. I just end up with like a half a board going down further. So that's a 1/2 inch, or if I do, I'm sorry, that's 1.5. If I do 2-inch slabs, then it should be, I get 3 full ones, and then that'll be almost a good one down there. I think I only need 3 slabs to make all the workbenches in there. All right, let's see what we got in here. Oh, it's very light. I believe Michigan only has northern white cedar. I don't think we have any other species. And some of it, this is about as light as I've ever found it. And I also have found some random trees. It's not like a gradient from light to dark red. I mean, maybe it is, but I mostly notice that you get a lot of these real white, yellow varieties, and then some really nice red wood. I was kind of hoping this would be one of the dark red ones. I think they're prettier, but this is really light. This will be nice anyway. It's not like you spend a whole lot of time staring at your workbench appreciating the lumber it's made out of. Wow. So that's what seasoned wood feels like. Not a crack, not a bug hole, nothing. None of the knots are rotted out or anything. This is going to make a really nice couple tables. I'm going to go ahead and mill up the rest of it. If I find any cool wood grains or anything, I'll show you. My guess is that it's all going to look pretty similar to this, like nice and clear and clean. But you never know. I might take one slab off and find like a woodpecker living in the middle of it and fly out. That's not probable, but I mean, it's possible. All right, I think we're set for workbench wood. These came out beautifully. That was actually one of the most fun logs I ever milled. It was super easy to cut. Nice fat slabs. It's nothing too interesting, but again, for a work surface, it doesn't make any difference. What I really want to do is build these tables, these workbenches. But I think what I should do is put that bunk together first, because the next couple days is going to be some gnarly weather. I could sleep in there if I wanted to, and then I could work on the workbench in there if it's too gnarly. So put that together pretty fast. I think I'm just going to lay out however many boards, as long as the rectangle is the same size as the one in the deer castle or bigger. Then just knock them together, put some bracing on it, maybe do some of those hinged feet with my used door hinges. I don't know, figure something out. Really want to make the tables. All right, it's a bed. Bed it is. 30 by 86, 30 by 86. Just gonna start ripping the edges off these 90, 92 inch boards. I think I only have 3 of those, then I'll go for some longer ones. Lay them out here, screw them together. Okay, back with you in a sec. Oh, it's gonna take all 6. It's a 2-tree bed. That'll do it. You gotta be kidding me. Inch short. Oh well, I guess that can be, cut it up and use it for the swing down feet underneath. That was a nice one too. Just when I think I couldn't be any dumber, go and do something like this and completely amaze myself. That's actually right. I didn't rip the end of this off yet. Come on, cold batteries. You can do it. Oh, legs aren't strong enough to squat this with one leg. All right, now this thing's got to stand out from the wall about 4 inches so that when it folds up, it's not right up against the studs, so I can leave the air mattress in there when I fold it up. Unfortunately, I don't have any lumber matching that description, and Snowstorm's just moving in. That's why I brought this in here. I'm wondering if I could get by with a 3.5. Actually, I could make a 4-incher from. I think I have one giant pine board left. I'm trying to think if that would actually work. Yeah, let's try it. We'll figure something out. I'll just have to throw a tarp or a towel or something over my tools out here. Gotta love the weather, right? You can't really bitch about the weather if you decide to live outdoors. Well, everything's so freaking buried. I have one fat board that's a 1.5 inch by huge, and I could cut 4 inches out of it and screw it to the wall like this, but that would be pretty floppy. I could still like put braces underneath it and stuff, which I mean would probably work. It'd just be an inelegant way to do it. I do have a pile of junk logs that are at least, probably need at least 6 inches around, and then I could just freehand rip a 4x4 out of it. That's really what I'd like, and then screw that to the studs, and then it wouldn't rock. But those logs are so covered and frozen in there. I'm gonna grab the 4-wheeler and just see if I can yank one out of there, see if I can find anything in that pile without, man, it's like a solid mass of ice and snow and logs. These are the logs that are too small to mill and too straight to turn immediately into firewood, so I just throw them in a pile, and a lot of times find stuff like this as a use for them. Hey, that's a good one. Yeah, that's plenty big enough. Let's see, let's just do 4. It needs to be 4 wide, but I guess it doesn't matter how tall it is. I probably just make it 4 wide and then square off the tops of the log. Came out all right. I think that's about exactly 4 inches. This, I got a little off track on the, what must have been the, yeah, that was the end of it. Sometimes when you go and cut halfway through and then you go through again and you're putting some pressure on it, it can go off your first cut, which is what happened there. But it'd probably take at least the whole battery just to get this sort of flat. Actually, when you think about it, the side up against the wall, it doesn't need to be smooth, but it needs to be pretty flat so it can be screwed into the studs. The side facing out doesn't make any difference. The hinges are going to be from the bunk. The hinges are going to be on top of this block, so the front doesn't matter. So whichever side of this is flatter, that's the one I'll try to get nice and smooth to put up against the wall. Maybe knock down the other side, and then I'll snap another line right down one side and rip it square. So that square side will be the top of the block against the wall. And then the bottom, facing the floor, doesn't make any difference at all. I'll just peel the bark off that and leave it. Never do more work than you absolutely have to, because there's always something else fun to do. Funner than making your first work look... Whew, God, that's complicated. Never mind, let's just do this. you know, I'm sure that's smooth enough without even planing it. Maybe I'll just run the planer over it one time in case there are like some little nubbins sticking up or something, but it's only going to touch the wall in 4 places on those 4 studs, so it shouldn't really be a problem. That looks pretty good. It's not perfectly square, so I'm going to move it over to my braces on the table and try to square it up a little bit more. But overall, that'll do. It's pretty heavy duty for hanging the back of a bunk on a wall, but hey, whatever. Well, it's pretty, but all of a sudden I realized I should have cut it longer, like 10 inches longer. I don't have a lumber stretcher either, so I guess we're just going to have to use it because I'm not going to make another one. Might as well use these for feet, otherwise they go in the fire. I make this like 20 inches off the ground because then it's high enough that I could slide some bins underneath there, or just keep them under there, and then when you want to use the bunk it'll still fold down over top of it. That's brilliant. Gosh, that's brilliant, isn't it? It's hard to hold this in place when the wood's frozen. It just, everything slides around. Might as well use these legs temporarily. Holy moly. That takes a lot of battery to do that when it's this cold. Oh, I forgot the washer. Damn it. What a turd. Man, it's not going to take many of those to hold this thing up. That's going to be stout. My dad had these, he's been cleaning out his house, I guess. He had a couple of big old piano hinges, so maybe I'll use that on here. This is the tough part, getting the back of the thing to hang on there when you can't stand back there and you're doing it by yourself. Oh yeah, look at that. Holy cow, this takes up the whole room. Well, I think I made these as long as the boards were. Thinking you put the air mattress on here and then you've got a little extra room to set your headlamp or whatever, machine gun, pyramid of bean cans, whatever. But yeah, it takes up half the room. I might have to, well, maybe I'll just leave it for now, and if I want to I can cut these off later and just scoot that in. Well, that'll totally work. This is when I cut this 4x whatever out of the tree, I just cut it long enough to make it to that last stud because this one wouldn't hook to anything. Now, hindsight, I wish I'd cut it out there and just let it float, because when you flip this thing down, the pad can go all the way up to here. I guess it still could. I mean, it's not a big deal if it hung off a little bit there, but that would allow me to make this whole thing like 4 inches shorter, which still is not, that's totally not a big deal to change. You can just take this thing off and rip it with the chainsaw or the circular saw or something. So I think I'll wait until I try this out one night and then maybe cut it down a bit. And this is a little bit longer. I mean, like I said, I made it longer just because the boards were that long. And it's not too close to this. It's not like gonna catch fire or anything. It's not a worry, but you know, it just gives you more space in the room. We'll have to see. Put the bed pad on here. I think it's gonna end somewhere around here, which gives you that little extra, but who knows? It's all just an experience. Nothing has to be perfect. Just doing it because it's fun. I'm gonna decided not to put a flip down foot on this side. I think I'm just gonna put a block underneath there that's permanent. Wouldn't matter if it was a flip down foot, but it's a little close to the wall, so I have to go find something, dig something out to fit in there. So I guess I'll go dig through this scrap pile. It's not snowing too hard now. That's a pretty one. That ought to do. Oh, yeah, sweet mamma jamma. Well, that's enough rest for the day. Now what? Now, workbenches. I love it. That's just great, isn't it? All right, let's see. How do we do this? I'm thinking we'll do one like this. Come right to here, probably 2 boards deep. Actually, it'd be 1 board I could just cut in half probably. It's 5 feet and a 1/4 inch. I think those boards are exactly 10 feet. Well, I'll just make it fit in there somehow. And if I have to, if it sticks out too much, maybe I'll just cut the corner off. Maybe like round it or something. And instead of thinking too much about it, I'm just gonna do it, stick it in there, and then see how everything else feels. Guess we might as well use the middle one, the biggest one. Man, I think it's must be like 32 degrees or something. All the flakes from earlier melted. I guess it's spring then. an ice rink. Break my stupid head. Yeah, it's a great opportunity to use up some of these scraps. These are whatever's left over from the monster slabs that didn't turn into 2x4s or 2x6s. These would be perfect. So I'll just make a couple for legs and maybe a couple for braces that hold the two boards together, and then I'll screw them into the wall or into the framing in the wall. I gotta pre-drill these so the lumber doesn't shatter. At least for now, when everything's frozen, this isn't too sticky, but that's all that color is sap. This is gonna be one sticky place. Yeah, it's the sapwood that I can't even drill through. That ought to hold. Oh, that's nice. That's real nice. And it's plenty high. I just took a guess at the height. That's actually pretty good. Waist height. Good enough for me. Should probably cut this corner off just for safety, you know? Don't want anybody to poke out an eye. Oh, much safer, much safer. It's definitely gonna need one more brace in the middle. I mean, it's plenty strong, but I don't know if you can see, these boards aren't exactly straight, so I think they're still flexible enough. I can just put a strip underneath there, screw it down, and then I'll screw the ends down to those braces and should be good to go. We can figure another one. This workbench, I might as well butt right into here. And you can see that's a live edge on there. So I think I'm gonna notch this out to fit the end of the next board. Actually, if I do two more boards, it's gonna come way out to here. So yeah, I probably have to notch that out with a chainsaw or something and fit them in. Let's see, I kind of like to go all the way out to this stud, which looks like about maybe 4 feet or so. Actually, I should fold the bunk down and see if there's even room for that. This is what I was hoping for. I could have, looks like I could fit 5 or 6 or 7 bins underneath here and just leave them like yat and still be able to use this. It wouldn't be in the way. Well, it would just miss the corner of the bunk. And if you had the workbench here and the bunk down, you'd have to slither. You know what I think I'll do? I don't really want to make it shorter because I want all that work surface in here, and that's not going to get used that much. But maybe I'll do this one, again, 2 boards all the way to this stud, and then I'll just cut the entire corner off of it. I think that's the thing to do. Don't you feel like that's the thing? All right, let's do it. I'll spare you the time and energy of watching me rip this up with the saw, unless one of you guys wants to do that work, and I'll just put it together. I mean, I like doing this, but I'd rather eat lunch. I'll just leave it here. You guys figure out who's gonna cut it up. Make sure you do a good job planing the edges. We want them to fit together real nice. And I just love these big boards. Something about a massive piece of lumber like that that's just like, oh, you just want to build something with it. Oh, I remember a time when I had to do this all with a chainsaw. Now I have a jigsaw and my life is much prettier. Yep, that'll do it. I like this a lot. Well, it definitely didn't need 2-inch boards, but it's better. I guess I really like the way it looks. Yeah, the ice still stuck to it. That'll take a while to to melt off of there, but it's quite solid. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. And lots of storage underneath. I'm not sure, maybe I'll put a shelf in there at some point. I guess now that I have all together, that leg looks a little weird jammed back in there. If it becomes an issue, I'll pull it out and put it somewhere else, or maybe even get rid of it. Man, I still got like almost 3 hours of daylight left, so let's build one more. Do I make it the same height as this, so it's a proper workbench, or make it a bit lower so that you can sit at it with a chair? Because there's not really any other, if you come in here with a chair, you want to sit by the fire, or I want to work in here. I mean, I have to keep reminding myself, this is not just for the winter, this is mostly for year round. This is for spring, summer, fall, working on projects, getting out of the rain, whatever. It's not just about sitting by the fire and being hot in here. So I'm thinking I do need a shorter table. Something I could put my computer at. I could maybe mount my Jackery, the battery up here somewhere. Even in the cooler months, it would keep it warm. It'd certainly be warmer than sitting it on the floor. All right, I think that's it then. It's gonna be a short one. I'm gonna do exactly the same thing, 2 boards together, 2 of the 2-inch boards, and I'll just drop it down. I don't know, maybe I'll just sit at the chair and grab a tape measure and see how tall it should be. The good thing is too, if I end up not using it for a regular table, or I just need more workbench space, it's nothing to knock. This is actually only going to take one leg, knock one leg off of it, put a new one on and raise it up. I was just going out to cut up that last board, so I make it a little bit longer. And the bunk was down, you could sit here and use it as a table, so I think I'm going to do that. That'd be nice to be able to sit here, plus when you're sleeping here, you've kind of got an end table, end table, is that what they call it? Bedside? You know what I'm talking about. Don't make fun of me. All right. This ought to do her, don't you think? Oh, sheesh. And look, you can still open the door, so that's a bonus. Beauteous. Oh yeah, That's plenty stout. I mean, I don't know if I could body slam Tito on it, but then again, I don't know if I could body slam Tito. Sometime we'll have to find out. This is great. The only thing I see make it look even nicer, might run the grinder over these edges because they're a little splintery. You know, it's just the little things that can really make a tool shed feel like home. All right, that looks great. I think at some point I'm probably gonna knock these legs off and just do braces back to the wall like I did on this side. Now that both pieces are up there, there's no reason for any of those legs. They're just kind of in the way. If you want to come back for next week's video, I think it may be, I don't plan any of these videos out. You just get whatever I'm doing for the week, but the next video might be a little different. We're supposed to have a pretty gnarly storm coming up. I think it's like at least a foot of snow. And I sent Tito a message and said, you know, we've been talking about each winter we just want to go out and do something on the worst day of the year. Either the coldest or the windiest or the most snow or whatever, just like go out and camp or stay out here or whatever. So we'll see what he says. I assume he'd probably come out and stay in the deer castle. I'll bring my camping stuff in here, fire up the stove. I don't know, he and I might bring an iPad out here, watch some movies, or I'd like to bring my guitar out here. Only problem is I'd have to run from the car to here, and I'd have to keep the heater on the whole time, so I don't want the guitar to freeze. Anyway, we'll do something cool like that. Maybe hang out, maybe wait till it's really dumping, go for a hike back here. And if the storm goes on longer than we know what to do with ourselves, I want to put shelves up all in here, which I can do mostly inside here. It's not going to be a problem. I'm going to do some shelves here, and I still want to put some cross bracing up here so I can, maybe I'll put a platform up there to keep stuff, bigger things just for storage. I also got this, I think I mentioned this in a different video, but I got this roll of, what's it called, hardware cloth. I'm thinking about making like a mesh pipe that goes around the outside of this so nothing touches it. And then using that mesh and putting a big, maybe like 2 layers of racks up here so I can throw my clothes, my boot liners, my gloves, my sleeping bag, whatever up there just to keep dry. That would be an enormous difference out here, being able to dry my stuff out. By the time I get this all set up, it's gonna be springtime. So, you know, I like to tell myself, I like to think that I'm planning like a year ahead. The truth is, I start getting cold. I'm like, oh, I should build someplace to stay warm. Or in the summer, it's like, it's way too hot, too many bugs. What should I do? I'll build a gazebo, and I get it done at the end of the year. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to come back or just come back. Do whatever you want. I'll be here. See you next week.